Hello, my beautiful friends. How are you? Whoa, we have a big Pisces full moon eclipse happening on the 7th, and I wanted to speak into it and share just like what's coming up for me, what I've been channeling. And oh my gosh, I've been feeling this one very deeply. I don't even have any planets in Pisces, but it's of course in my chart in the 12th house. So, anyways, if you're new to me, my name is Donnell Davis, and I am a channel, a healer for over 20 years. And I am also the creator of the Future Self Embodiment Method, where I help you heal forward to become your future self, to have the love, money, success, whatever it is that you dream of. And it's it's been a minute since I've been on here, so I'm really excited to get back into a flow and share about how this full moon is going to impact you and how, from a futuring perspective, you can use this full moon as a really huge growth opportunity and a big release point. So, just to set the stage, this is not just any full moon. This is a total lunar eclipse at Pisces in Pisces, I should say, at 25 degrees. If you're not familiar with eclipses, what makes them different than a regular full moon is they're massive turning points in time. They're wormholes, they're portals that can change your life. And being that September is a 9 month and in a 9 year, we're really feeling deeply into the energy of completions, deep karmic completions. And I'll get into that. But eclipses accelerate change, and sometimes it's so fast that your head almost spins. You're like, what is happening right now? But this one highlights the Pisces Virgo polarity, which is logic versus intuition. So logic being Virgo, intuition is all Pisces, surrender versus order. So surrender being Pisces, order being the Virgo energy, and control versus flow being Pisces. And these are the exact moments where our future self calls us into that higher alignment because eclipses, like I said, bring the endings or revelations that our current self might resist, most likely will resist. But our future self has already been preparing us for it. And we may not understand why this has to happen right now. But remember, there's always this kind of higher divine order that's at play behind the scenes. And I often say when you're going through your biggest breakdown, it's because you're about to step into the biggest blessings. So you have to remember that because part of what happens is especially with Piscean energy, it's so subtle, sometimes it's so spiritual. And it's easy to want to be in control. And in the sign of Pisces, I mean, it's ruled by Neptune. It's not the energy of being in control. If anything, it's kind of like you get these subtle energies that come through, and you're like, okay, what is this all about? Like you only get a breadcrumb of like what's supposed to happen next. There's a lot of mystery to it. It's not like you get the full road ahead. So when it comes to this time, I just want to share some things that can support you in navigating this energy and really being grounded during this time. I think when you may feel like things are out of control, you may feel like things are just shifting too rapidly. So, one of the big things about this full moon in Pisces is cosmic closure. Big endings, karmic ties to those endings, emotional baggage resurfacing. Pisces really dissolves what no longer serves us. Pisces is that energy of the subconscious. It's the ways that we've been operating that like maybe we can't see all the time, but during these full moons, so full moons illuminate. They're not a time for manifesting, especially during an eclipse. They're a time to be shown things and to release, especially with the full moon, and eliminate what is no longer serving you. And these endings. I just want to speak into these endings. The energy that I've been feeling in the depths of my soul is that these endings are going to come because they've been in the works for quite some time. And it's uncomfortable. It may cause all sorts of reactions from you. But I want you to trust and have faith that there is a bigger reason why this is occurring. So people may leave the planet. It's happening in my family constellation. I'm not going to go into it, but somebody dear just departed. So there might be people physically leaving the planet. There may be issues that you've been dealing with for quite some time, especially since March of 2023, where you are going to find like an ending to like whatever started then. So you may be surprised. I was going to say, don't be surprised, but you may be surprised. And it's really about just understanding, okay, if this is going on, then there must be a higher reason. So I want you to think about what is it that's happening right now that your future self is no longer willing to carry? Which stories, patterns, or illusions do you see that you need to be freed from? Because Pisces is so good at working with that unconscious material that we have in our psyche. And part of the most challenging thing when it comes to patterns is we can't see them. The only way you can see them sometimes is if you look backwards, you can be like, okay, this keeps happening repeatedly. Why can't I keep, a job? Or why do my relationships fail in this way? Why do I keep picking the same person? Whatever your storyline is, I know there's something repetitive that might be bothering you. It's irked you. And let this full moon reveal to you the ways in which this can shift. And it may be a prayer that you ask at this full moon of divine, show me the patterns that need to be dissolved. Even if I can't see them, like give me clarity. Because remember, Pisces is intuition. And just ask for that prayer, like, show me what I need to see, what needs to be dissolved in order for me to move forward, even more so than I'm already doing now. In futuring, we always ask questions in a very specific way that will open up the subconscious to work in alignment with you. And so let the illusions fall, because with Pisces, at times there could be a lot of disillusionment. There could be a lot of fantasy. And fantasy is great. Sometimes I love working with the imagination, but if you're living in denial or you're not able to see something clearly, this would be a time to ask for truth, to see it so that you can move forward. As well, with this Pisces full moon, we're going to have a lot of emotional and spiritual awakening. People are waking up faster than ever because Pisces awakens compassion, forgiveness, and mystical insight. But it also can bring, like I said, a temptation for fantasy or escapism. So your best bet is to stay rooted in the here and now, to stay in a state of understanding that this isn't about fixing things. This is about really just allowing and letting yourself channel. So maybe your future self, like you've been wanting to channel your sensitivity into art, into service, or healing instead of avoidance or denial. So maybe just thinking about in the future, when it comes to all this beautiful sensitivity you have towards things, how could you use that moving forward? How might you also work with those beautiful energies of Pisces? Because when you have compassion, it really serves you well in relationships, especially forgiveness. No matter what type of relationship you're in, you're going to find that you need to employ those often in order to restore humanity back to the people that you're involved with. Because humans, we're all going to disappoint people, and things are always going to go down in some way, shape, or form. So it's really allowing yourself to see the bigger picture. Pisces has quite the energy of unconditional love, like the creator. So how could you see things through the lens of the creator versus the lens of your ego? Because your ego is like, that person did me wrong. That person's, not a good person. They owe me. We get like entitled in our ego. We're like, ooh, but really unconditional love, seeing things through the lens of the creator is kind of like, well, this is happening. This person is doing this thing because I'm supposed to learn something from it. I'm supposed to grow. I'm supposed to tighten up my boundaries. I'm supposed to get out of the illusion that maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and they're not treating you well and you've been ignoring it for quite some time because your ego is like, I like this relationship because it makes me feel safe. Been there, done that in the past. And it's time for you to see the truth. So the truth is going to come knocking hard, okay? Because it's like enough already, right? Like this is a completion, a karmic completion energy. So it's like the other end of a bookend. So what started in the past, it's now going to come to, and it's going to have finality. Like this is going to be like an ending in some way of some storyline that's been going on for some time. So anyways, notice to your rational mind versus your intuitive knowing. Of course, Virgo is like so organized, so on top of things, sees everything clearly. Pisces is intuitive, it's like it feels everything and all these things. So we have Sun and Mercury and Virgo opposing the Pisces moon. So there might be a little bit of head versus heart activity going on. It's really about learning to weave the practical strategy energy with the spiritual trust. You don't want to just be in your head all the time and you don't want to just be in your heart all the time. We need both, right? We need to employ both. And that's where, from a futuring perspective, when you're visualizing how you're running your life, how can you use the benefits of both the structure of Virgo, while also trusting the flow with Pisces and thinking about if you were to really work well with both of these, how could your life be a little bit differently? Because I have a feeling you're probably stronger in one way than the other. Like for me, I'm very right-brained, very flowy. I have structure, but that's the one that I always need to work on. Thank God I'm, with my soon-to-be husband. He's Virgo rising, so he really helps provide that structure for me. He budgets for us. He does all these things because that's not my strong suit. But I also know I need that structure in my life because that structure provides discipline, which allows me to flow and be creative. And last but not least, actually not last but one of the bigger things I want to say around this is the karmic accountability. So I'm so curious what you guys think about when it comes to karma. Karma, I believe, is what you put out into the universe is going to flow back to you in some way, shape, or form. So we have Saturn in Pisces right now, and it's active, right? It's reviewing those boundaries. It just went back into Pisces this week. It's asking us to grow up spiritually. So there might be a lot of lessons around responsibility and compassion. And I know for me personally, the growing up spiritually is challenging sometimes because it means you have to hold people accountable. It means that you need to be in your boundaries. It means that you have to do maybe the right thing versus what feels really easy. I have found that a lot in my personal life where I don't want to, rock the boat sometimes because I don't want to upset somebody, but yet the highest thing for me to do is to hold somebody accountable, let's just say. So let yourself step into more emotional maturity with this full moon. And I want you to think about your future self already operating from a deeper level of embodiment when it comes to emotional maturity. And so, what boundaries or commitments does she or he keep that are sacred, that are absolute non-negotiables for you? So that when you're operating in your life, it's not a question of should I do this or should I not do this? It's like, nope, that goes, like, for instance, I'm working with a client and she's a recovering addict. So one of her non-negotiables is she's not going to date addicts. Duh. But like, I mean, these are things that you should just know. Like, I don't do this. I don't lie. I don't want to be in relationships with people where they're gossiping or complaining all the time or whatever your non-negotiable is. And at this full moon, there is a beautiful positive influence of Jupiter being in Cancer, which harmonizes with the moon in such a glorious way that it really is going to promote some emotional growth, optimism, spiritual expansion. This is a real big blessing of this eclipse. Jupiter in Cancer, Cancer rules the fourth house, which is family, home, ancestors, all that. So, ancestrally speaking, maybe there's some form of karmic closure that is a blessing in disguise that is going to allow the family constellation to move. And if you're like, what's a family constellation? I do constellation work as part of my coaching. And it's when you look at your family dynamics and what you're carrying forward and what you need to release and give back to your ancestors so that you can be free to be you. So, this energy of this eclipse has that beautiful blessing baked into it. And so, when you think about your larger mission in your life, that your future self is living, how is she expanding her sense of home, family, belonging, or purpose so that she can feel really met? So for you right now with Jupiter in Cancer, the spiritual feeling of this is that we all want everybody, it's like two things that people want when it comes to like what causes trauma. Like one is that if they didn't have an authentic connection, and two, if they don't feel like they belong. Like people need to feel like they belong. That's like such a huge tenet of what makes humans human. And with this Pisces full moon, you might feel the blessings of where you belong. You might notice like what needs to go so that you can feel that deeper sense of belonging. But it's really going to be part of this. So how to work with this eclipse, I want to offer just like a few tips, and then I just want to do a little, little channeling, pull a few cards, and then we'll close this up. Um, a great way to work with this full moon is to release, is maybe write down some old identities, illusions, patterns that you're ready to burn or release them in the water. Have some future self dialogue. And I love working with Future Me, which is an app that is so fun. I'm going to link it here in my show notes, but Future Me is an opportunity for you to write a letter to yourself. So 6 months from now, you could say, okay, this is what I released, and you'll get a letter sent to you, emailed to you 6 months from now around the Pisces new moon that will really show you how much you've grown and shifted. So you can work with that. You could maybe record yourself as your future self speaking from 6 months from now about, what this eclipse season helped you with. And you can go back and watch it 6 months from now. But I really love the emails because I love both, but the emails, it's like they show up and you forget that you even wrote it and it comes and you're like, oh my gosh. So understand that eclipses accelerate destiny. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This has already been written in the stars for you. So if you feel shaken or emotional, remember it is your future self collapsing timelines with you. She's saying, I'm here. I'm ready. Let's walk this together. This full moon is an invitation to let go, trust, and step into the version of you who already knows the way. Who already knows the way. If you are curious about future self work, it's not about bypassing and trying to be something like this isn't about like, oh, I'm just going to like try and be that 6 month version of me and forget about all the things that are happening right now. No, the future self contains all the versions of you. And it's about healing forward. It's about trusting that when you say what you want to the universe, to God, to source, that the universe conspires to give you the exact curriculum, and that curriculum is going to land you somewhere. So my job is to support you in landing where you want to go, because a lot of times the curriculum comes and it comes in the form of challenges and obstacles, and the very thing that you think you want, all of a sudden you feel like you're going backwards. So when you work with a high level mentor coach with my level of expertise, then I'm able to succinctly point out the patterns and the ways that you're being stuck. So I have many different ways you can work with me. One of the current ways is my Future Self Circle, which is a monthly touch-in point where we meet. I teach about, how to become your future self, how to heal. And there's a little bit of Q&A, there's a deeper, longer meditation. And then there's also my one-on-one coaching where we can take a journey together, very high touch. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will share those different ways, but I do want to just go a little bit deeper and just pull 3 cards that might provide a little bit extra information for this full moon and just kind of see what comes through. And then we'll be done. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for sharing your time with me, because I know there's so much going on the internet, and there's so much going on in the world. And I don't know about you, but I want to hear how I can be a better person. I don't want to hear about, there's so much negativity and there's so many things that are happening, but like, let's talk about how we can become our best selves, even while we're dealing with difficult situations and problems, right? These cards are no freaking joke. I'm just going to say that. We got the sacral chakra card. We got the so this is from the psychic tarot deck. Sacral chakra card, the disruption card, which is the tower in the traditional tarot, and we have the conflict and defeat card. So this is saying for this 2-week eclipse period. Let me break it down for you. In order to birth something new, something has to come to completion or end. We've been talking about this. But in your sacral chakra, like, think about a baby being born. It's the most beautiful blessing, right? But your single life that you had before. So it's not even a bad thing. It's just it's a transition. It's a moving into something new. So something for you to become the most beautiful, highest aspect of you, you're probably, of course, I talk about this all the time in future, you're going to have to let some pattern or something go that's keeping you in your limitations. And this full moon is really dreamy when it comes to relationships, by the way. I should have said that earlier. There's a romantic feeling to it because it's, Pisces is that dreamy energy. But even in the most beautiful of romantic relationships, right? Like, if you're going to grow together and expand, you have to be willing to let go of the ways certain things aren't working in your relationship. But if you were to be in the full Pisces shadow, there's that disillusionment. There's that, like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to deal with that. But yet you have to if you want to continue to expand. So that's what this feels like, is whatever you drop, whatever is let go of, whatever ends, whatever happens, whether it's in, relationships or just with yourself or whatever, however it's going to show up for you, it's part of the fertility. It's part of the rebirth process that is a gift. It's a gift. Okay. It's a blessing, which brings me to the tower card, which is like dun dun dun, but it's not bad. The tower, I always talk about, I say this all the time. It's the new renovation of something. It's if you're gonna build a house and you're gonna renovate, or let's say you're renovating a house and the house is outdated. It's not working anymore. It's like the bathroom's old or the kitchen's old, and you're like, oh my God, it's time for us to invest in this and change this up. But okay, a renovation costs money. It's going to take some effort. There's some things that are happening. So, like, walls have to come down, things have to be planned out. A part of your life, like, maybe there's going to be some feeling of like, oh, I'm investing in something, or I'm doing this thing and it feels really hard, or like I have to let this go, or whatever. There's a little bit of a feeling of the work that goes into that, right? Something coming down so something new can be built. And then all of a sudden you're looking at your kitchen or your bathroom, and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful in here and I love it so much, because it's what you've been asking for this whole time. Like, it's pre-planned, predestined, it's fated during eclipse time. So that to me is you're learning some soul lessons. You're going to be working with your soul deeply, hopefully in meditation and really grounding yourself, and whatever is let go of, it's part of the plan, like I've been saying all along. And the last card is the conflict and defeat card. So this is telling me, for some of us, it's in, there's nothing to be afraid of. There are different levels to all of these changes for each individual. For somebody, it might be a huge change. It might be a little change for you. I don't know. We never know. Especially, it's going to depend on how Virgo and Pisces are in your chart. But what I was going to say about the conflict and defeat card is, it's saying, because something is changing, don't let it bring you down. Like, or you might find that there's conflict in relationships. You might find that something's illuminated and it's bringing things to a head, and you're like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. This is wildly, wildly, not something I want to deal with. And so if you feel that change energy, and it feels, whether you feel conflicted internally, there's conflict happening in your external world, if you feel, defeated by it, remember this is part of what needs to happen. This is a necessary change that's happening so that you can up level. And so I want you to really stay grounded because what started right now, like I said, it's fated. It's supposed to be happening and it's going to be a closure and it might feel really uncomfortable while it's happening. But when it's all said and done, if you don't resist and fight the change or the conflict that's happening internally or externally, you're going to get to the other side of this. You're going to eventually understand the beautiful blessings and the growth and all the things. And you could get really emotional about it. You can create some stories about what's going on. Like I have something personally that I'm dealing with in my life that has been going on since March of 2023, like no joke. And I have like been kicking and screaming. I'm like, God, I do not want to deal with this again. I do not want to go through this. Like, why are you making me do that? I'm already in the conflict. I'm already conflicted about it. I'm like, no, no, no. And my higher self was like, sit your ass down, girl, and just go through it because this has been in the works. Like, you have to do it. And what creates suffering is our inability to trust the divine and to not be in flow. So, wherever you find yourself, if there's conflict internally or externally, how can you come back to that Piscean flow? How can you work with your nervous system and be like, okay, body, I need to feel safe with all the change that's happening. I'll go back to my renovation. Renovations are uncomfortable. I've never had one, but I always hear they're wildly uncomfortable because your house is being torn up and all the things, right? So this isn't about ignoring that your house is being torn up or that some part of you is being changed from the inside out or being activated. This is about understanding it's happening and being aware and saying, okay, I trust you. I trust you, Source, God, and I'm going to get to the other side and this is going to be beautiful because you're leading me exactly to where I want to go, even if I can't see it yet, because my future self has been working on this. Enjoy. Let me know how this lands for you. And please share this if it, it could help somebody else. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.